Good morning. Vi al atu, which pasuk? Moine mispar l'kechavim l'chulim shemes yikra. That he counts the number of the stars, and to all of them he assigns a name. Welcome, Machasit. We spoke about last time about really cool how there's some stars out there, and how somehow the Gemara knew how many stars there are that match with current day numbers in a time where it was almost impossible to really know how many stars there actually are because there's no telescopes. Hi Yoav, sudden death. So what's going on here? I think there's a lot of really cool, amazing points that we can bring out. The first one I want to talk about is that Ibn Ezer. You know who that is? Ibn Ezra. What? The Ibn Ezer. He says, Moina mispar l'kechavim. Hashem counts the stars. What does he write? He writes, Ba'avor shehiskim nidchi Yisrael shehem mefuzarim b'chol haaretz. Since it mentioned in the previous pasuk, right? Everything is connected. Since it mentioned in the previous pasuk, nidchi Yisrael yichanes, right? That all the Jewish people were all spread out, and Hashem is going to one day gather us all in together. He writes, Moina mispar l'kechavim b'chol haaretz hiskir k'neged zeh Moina mispar l'kechavim shechachavim heim mefuzarim b'glal elyon. That the stars, right, are all scattered across the entire galaxy, right? And Hashem knows all of them. Similarly, He knows all of us, right? He writes again. Let's read it. Since he mentions that all the Jewish people that are scattered everywhere, in comparison, he writes, he writes, he knows all the numbers of the stars. Because they're all spread out in the entire galaxy. And he knows everyone by name and exactly how many numbers there are. So you never think that even though we're all scattered and we're all everywhere around the world, Hashem knows about each and every one of us. It's kind of like Hashem put a special GPS inside of each one of us. And that GPS is called our neshama, okay? And that GPS not only gives out a signal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling us where we are so that He can come and help us and love us, that GPS is a two-way signal. And it lets us know where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. You see, we have the signal, but a lot of times it gets covered up and it's blurred. There's not such a good connection because the more, averos that we do, we cover up that connection. The more taivas and the more things that we get distracted by, it kind of blurs and weakens the connection, right? We only get one bar. Whereas if we do all the mitzvahs, if we do tshuva and we remove layers and layers, then our connection gets closer and stronger, and we reach 2 bars, 3G, 5G, LTE, whatever the good stuff is, right? And we could really see this, right? That the more you strip away physical elements in our life, taiva and all the good stuff out there, the stronger our connection becomes. And the greatest recent example, and I've mentioned this in the past, is the hostages that used to be in Gaza, right? There's a famous story about one of them who comes home for the first Shabbos, and they ask him, okay, what should we make you for Shabbos? I forget his name, but Hashem knows who he is. What should we make you for Shabbos? You want this challah, this piece of meat, one? He goes, no. He goes in Hebrew, like say, pinli kippah, vitinli kiddush, or something. All he wanted was his yarmulke and his cup to make kiddush. He didn't care about getting the nice French roast for Shabbos. He cared about putting on his yarmulke and making kiddush. Why? Because the less physical you experience, the more you connect to your spiritual side of things. As we've quoted also in the past, right? From the story of from the rubble, what remains can only be what's true, right? From the song from the Greatest Showman, right? When you're stuck in the tunnels of Gaza and everything that you've put on pedestals in your life and what's important comes tumbling down, you don't have anything. The only thing that remains is your neshama, is that connection that you have to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what's true. And there's a beautiful, beautiful story about this with Rabbi Ari Levine and Rabbi Chaim Berlin. You see, there's a pasuk in Shir HaShirim that talks about Shir HaShirim in general is a love story between Hashem and the Jewish people. A lot of beautiful examples. And one of the psukim, I'm not going to say it in Hebrew because I don't know the words, but it says that Hashem says, "Oh, Jewish people, your eyes are like Yonah birds. You know, like the little white pigeons that Noah sent out are like Yonah birds." And every single time that Rabbi Levine would say this pasuk, he would cry until someone asked him, like, "What's so special about this pasuk?" He goes, "Let me tell you a story." So we have a story within a story. Rav Chaim Berlin was living in Russia, okay, in the time where being a Jewish person, Russia, right? Being a Jewish person doing the mitzvahs, Bris Milah, Shabbos was not really like the popular thing to do. It was actually a very dangerous thing to do. And one night, there's a big, ring on the door of Rav Chaim Berlin's home, and you never want to knock on your door at 11 o'clock at night in the middle of communist Russia as a rabbi. And opens the door, and lo and behold, there's what's the Russian Gestapo? KGB. Okay, KGB is there. Like, what are you, Chaim Berlin? Right? Who are you? Yes, I am. He goes, okay, let me in. He comes in, and Chaim Berlin's all nervous, and this guy says, let's go downstairs to the basement. They go down to the basement, and this KGB officer brought his son with him, and he goes, "Rabbi, I want you to give my son a bris milah." And Rav Chaim Berlin goes, "Huh? You're coming here at 12 o'clock at midnight. You're coming to risk your life to do bris milah on your son? Like, are you Jewish?" He goes, "Yes, I'm Jewish. I never had a bris milah, but if and I'm not returning. But if my son ever has the desire to do tshuva and to come back to Hashem, come back to the Jewish people, I want to make sure that he has a bris, so he feels like he's part of the Am Yisrael and he could fit right back in." I'm not sure of the story. Maybe he's 3, maybe he's 10, I have no idea. But the point is that this guy, he's like, I don't see it for me in my future, but I can't handle the idea that maybe my son one day will want to do tshuva, and he's not going to be able to. There's going to be a barrier preventing him from doing so because he doesn't have a bris milah. If you do bris milah, it's difficult. Give him a bris. Rav Chaim Berlin gave the bris, and the story is over. So, what is this connection to Rabbi Levine and crying? Because he goes, whenever I say the words "einayim keyonim," that your eyes are like Yonah birds, because there's a special character trait about a Yonah bird. A Yonah bird, when he goes out to feed or get food for his children, never goes too far away that he can't see his nest. And the same thing with the Jewish people. We may do averos. We may go shtickle off the deep, right? We may go far away from Kadosh Baruch Hu, but we never go so far away that we'll never be able to turn around and see home. Like this KGB officer, he said, "It's too far from me. I'm too old to do tshuva, but maybe my son who's one day going to want to return, I need to be able to allow himself to connect to the Jewish people." Rav Shaya Cohen, my Rebbe told me another story. He once had a guy come into ZA, tattoos from toe to eye, everywhere, except one place. Can you imagine where the place was? No tattoo on his left arm. Because he says, if I ever want to do tshuva and come back, I want to be able to go to shul, lift up my sleeve, put on tefillin like a regular Jewish person. Einayim keyonim, we're Jewish people. We have it in our heart. We have a GPS. It's called the neshama in our chest that is constantly beeping out. Sometimes it gets faded because we can't hear it, because we get distracted through Taiva. But no matter where you are, Hashem knows what's going on. He's moina misper l'kaycham l'chuvam shem yisukra. He knows where you are. You may be scattered and lost, but he has a GPS signal telling him where you are, and you have one telling yourself where he is.